Good evening. We are beginning. We say shalom, one and all. And time and again, we say the word shalom aleichem, and it's a reminder that even if there's one person in the room, we're thinking about being part of a community. And we say shalom aleichem, and we sing on page number 5. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 10, the first two stanzas of Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarach Haman Meshach Abdach El Ritzonach Yarutz Abdach Kimo Ayal Yishtachaveh Mohadarach Ki Erav Lo Yedidutach Mino Fet Suf Vechol Tam Hadur Naed Ziv Olam Nafshi Cholat Avatach Ana El Narafana Allah Bir Harot La Noam Zivach Az Titchazek V'titrapi V'hayatalach Shivchat Olam Yadadai-dai-dai-dai 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 Yadadai-dai-dai 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 L'chun Ranana on page number 11. L'chon Ranana l'Adonai Nari Alitzur Yishenu Nikad Mafana B'Torah Bismiro Nari Alo Nikad Mafana B'Torah Bismiro Nari Alo Ki El Gadol Adonai Umelech Gadol Al Kol Elohim Asher Biyado Mekerei Aretz V'Toafot Harim Lo Asher Biyado Mekerei Aretz V'Toafot Harim Lo. On the English side, let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song. Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands form the earth's deep. Mountain crests, too, are God's work. The sea is God's, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai, who formed us. The last stanza on the Hebrew side of page 12. Arba'im shana kut v'dor v'amar to'ei levavhem v'hem lo yidu drachai asher nishbati v'api im yivon el menuchati. And on page number 15 on the English side, page 15 on the English side. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice. Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about. Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth. The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory. The heavens are speaking, and all the nations are responding to the world. The series of Psalms here is intended to activate our participation in a world greater than our own, the physical world of nature and the communal world of humanity. On page 16, on the Hebrew side, the last four lines. Or zaru ala tzadik, ole yisrael simcha. Or zaru ala tzadik, ole yisrael simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kadsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kadsho. Yada da da yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da da yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da da yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da da yada da 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 yada da 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 da. We have some song sheets in the back and some of our contemporary pieces, and tonight we'll begin with Hine Matov. This is a contemporary piece. It's by Sue Hurwitz, and yes, she has the phrasing Hine Matov, but she also has this English piece that goes with it. But we're talking about just a reminder of how beautiful it is for us to come together and be as Jewish people together. Hine Matov.
Sheverachim, Sheverachim, Gam מאומנאים שבר אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב מאומנאים שבר אחים גם
We turn to Mizmor David on page 21. Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kavod shemo, Hishtachavul Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod, Hirim Adonai al ma'ayim Rabim, Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzeh halvanon, Vayakidem kemo egel, Levanon v'siryon kemo ven re'emim, Kol Adonai chotzev lahavot eish, Kol Adonai yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yacholel ayalot, vayechesof ye'arot, uvehechalo kulo Omer kavod, Adonai lamabul yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz li'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. And Lachadudi is on page number 23, the first three stanzas on page 23, the last three stanzas on page number 25. We haven't done the oldie but goodie in a while. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmiyanu el hamayuchad, Adonai echad Ushmo echad, l'shem otif eret velit hila, lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesu Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat techila, lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzai mitoch ha'afecha, Rav log shevet be'emek habacha, ve'hu yachamo kol alayechem la lecha dodi lekrot kala penei Shabbat nikabela v'hayu shisa shosayich v'rachaku kol mival ayich yasis alayich Elohayich kimsos chatan al kala lecha dodi lekrot kala penei Shabbat nikabela yamin usmol tifrotzi v'yet Adonai taritzi al yad ish ben partzi v'nismecha v'nagila lecha dodi lekrot kala penei Shabbat nikabela boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'b'tzahala toch emunei am sigula boi chala lecha dodi lekrot kala penei Shabbat nikabela. We are seated in the Psalm for Shabbat on page number 27. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name most high, to proclaim your love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. Finger the lute, pluck the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up. You gladdened me with your deeds, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork. How wonderful are your works, Adonai, how subtle your designs. The arrogant do not understand. The fool does not comprehend this. The wicked flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms, only to be destroyed forever. You, Adonai, are exalted for all time. Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered. As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raised my head high, anointed it with fresh oil. As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady, for my ears listen and hear. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age, I remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming, Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. And on page 29, officially, this is a separate psalm. Well, because of proximity, it's considered in some of the commentaries to be part of the Psalm of Shabbat, but officially it's a separate psalm. And again, look at the theme within this psalm. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you were enthroned, you are eternal. The rivers rise up, Adonai. The rivers raise up their roar. The rivers raise up their waves. Above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time. Nature becomes the vehicle. Nature becomes the vessel. Nature becomes almost a conduit for God's sanctity, God's glory, God's transcendent beauty. Nature becomes a mirror. We have a song sheet, and the title, it's Heaven and Earth Touch. And I think you can see why I'm placing it here in proximity to this psalm, Heaven and Earth Touch.
I'm not sure where, I'm not sure how. Maybe later, maybe touch. Perhaps it's only in a dream, never to be found or be seen, but somewhere heaven and earth touch. I stop and look for miracles of better things to come. Perhaps I'm just too close to see the miracle is you and me. I want to believe in a better day. I want to believe. I want to believe. I want to believe in a better way. And I want to believe that heaven and earth touch someday. In every laugh, in every tear, in every joy, in every fear, somewhere heaven and earth touch. In every light of every day, in everything, in every way, somewhere heaven and earth touch. We stop and look for miracles, for better things to come. Perhaps we are too close to see the miracle is you and me. I want to believe in a better day. I want to believe. I want to believe. I want to believe in a better way. And I want to believe heaven and earth touch someplace. We look, but do we see? We listen, but do we hear? We touch, but do we feel? The signs are there, they are real. We stop and look for miracles, of better things to come. Perhaps we are too close to see the miracle is you and me. I want to believe in a better day. I want to believe. I want to believe. I want to believe in a better way. I want to believe that heaven and earth touch someday. That heaven and earth touch someday. Heaven and earth touch someday. Heaven and earth touch someday. Heaven and earth touch someplace.
On page 39b in the Siddur, the bracha leading to the Shema, it's page 39b on the English side, page 39b. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, you completed your work of creation on the seventh day, calling this day from one evening to the next the holy Shabbat, and gave this day of rest in all its holiness to your people Israel, creator of day and night, ruling light before darkness and darkness from light, making day pass and bringing on the evening, distinguishing day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah.
Brings each evening's dusk.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamidim lo chalen olam voed. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv aravim. On page 40. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Havtam, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadita. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachveinu u'b'kumeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha. V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki em chayenu v'orech yameinu v'orech yameinu u'v'hem negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatecha tasir mimenu l'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema on page 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Hashem, K'val Malchut Olam Va'ed. Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayo hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al vavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shachbecha v'kumecha u'kishartam lot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'ninecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'sharecha. A few moments of silence on page number 42. Adonai Elohechem emet. The top of page 44. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'Miryamu v'nei Yisrael lecha anu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha b'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh no ratilot o seifele malchut techara uvanecha bokea yam lifnei Moshe zeli anu v'yamru Adonai yimloch leolam ba'ed v'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo mi'al chazai mimenu baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Before the Hashkavenu, we turn to the other song sheet. It's Love Your God. And we speak of the Shema, and we remind ourselves that Torah is expecting a great deal. Torah is expecting each and every one of us in his or her own private manner to go beyond every aspect of our routine lives. Our entire reality is based upon the tangible and the close and the immediate. And we are called to go far beyond that reality, to love something that we can't see, something that's a hard time identifying. Many of us are not sure how we interact with the whatever it is. And that's at the core of who we are. We're trying to go beyond our ordinary, to catch a glimpse of something extraordinary. Maybe that's the Shema. And the contemporary piece by Craig, Love Your God. page 45 on the English side of the Hashkivenu, look at the last 5 lines. There's a little red arrow. And whenever you see a little red arrow, or in some Siddurim a little box, or a circle, or a dot, or an asterisk, that tells you the main point of the tefillah, of the prayer. It's called the Chatimah, the signature. That's the main part of this Hashkivenu together. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. And now B'Shem, with the top of page 46, and Chazan Debbie Bledstein is joining us tonight. Page 46.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Before we rise, as we turn to the Amida on page 47, the concluding phrase of that first stanza is V'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot. God, you remember the deeds of chesed, of piety and kindness of our ancestors. And I would imagine that it's fairly clear. The obvious reading is, you remember the pious deeds of Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob, Rachel, and Leah. But I would say it's poetry. And poetry is always open for interpretation. And so we've just spoken in a moment in quiet thought about Abraham and Sarah and all their ancestors. But we're also thinking about our own immediate ancestors, the ones in our lives. And the way that we are introduced to God in the Amida, the most powerful of all expressions is that God's remembering the good things that your parents did, the loving deeds that your grandparents did, the expressions of kindness and compassion from your aunts, your uncles, your family's caring behavior is charted in the heavens above, inscribed in the memory of God. And that's how you start your prayer. And the rest is up to you. We rise to silent prayer, page 47 to 52, were a few moments of our own private thoughts. I never remember, which is why I always ask Minette, when we went to Italy on that trip, was it 86 or 87? We traveled, we and Steve.
February, March of 88.
88. That's why I have Minette. We came to Italy and we just traveled. Much of the country, Venezia, and then Firenze and Siena, and we came to Roma, and for years, I have just been captivated by that touch of the two fingers nearly coming together on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. And we've been traveling, and we came into St. Peter's, and we walked in, and I looked up, and what was on the ceiling? a tarp. It seemed that all over where we were traveling in Italy that season, everything was in restauro. Every gallery, every museum was in restauro. But I just wanted to see the fingers because I thought maybe on the Sistine Chapel, maybe the fingers actually touch. Cover it up. So we saw all the glorious elements, the artwork and the statuary and the museum, and it was just glorious. And we were tired and we were hungry, and we came to this one section of St. Peter's, and we started hearing people saying, Il Papa, Il Papa, which, wonder if? No, it can't be. And we walked in, and sure enough, the Pope was coming in that day at whatever time it was, 4, 5, 6 in the evening. And Minetta and I were there with tens of thousands of people in this gorgeous room. And sure enough, there's this procession, and there are all these cardinals and other really important people, and they're all wearing their finery, and here comes the Pope. And they went up to the bema, and somebody begins to say words in Latin, which of course we don't know, and then other people are standing and sitting, and they're doing the thing, Latin and Italian. I remember tutti, conferso, tutti, which means everybody, sing with strength. So that's all I know. And it's going on, and it's now almost 7 o'clock. And Minette and I and our friend Steve, we're hungry, we're tired, we're sorry. We left, we walked out on the Pope. And there were some women there who probably had crawled there on their knees, and they were just astonished that we turned and walked out on the Pope. That's our only up-close and personal experience with the Pope. He was, at the front of the room, but we were in the same room as the Pope. And this has been on my mind for the past few days because obviously the whole world has been watching the excitement of Conclave. And I saw some scenes over these past days that really took my breath away. The pageantry and the elaborate clothing, the Swiss guards, all the cardinals walking in, and they walk in a very particular formal manner, and they're all wearing these outfits, and they're gorgeous outfits, and it's the red, and it's the cream, and it's the shoes, and then for a different event, they change a different outfit, and at one point there was, I suppose, a drone overhead looking at what we would call a procession or a small parade, and the outfits, and I kept saying, gosh, this is gorgeous, this is beautiful, stunning. And then I thought for a minute, and I said, but it's not mine, and as beautiful as it is, as captivating as it is, I just don't quite get it, because I'm sure that there's an amount of money that has been invested in all this royal garb. And yes, for people who are part of the Catholic community, this is deeply meaningful because this is a bedrock of their experience and their identity, as well there should be. There have been occasions when I've gone to churches to participate in an ecumenical service. And somebody invariably brings up who's doing what, what's the program, who says what, who stands where, and so on. We divvy up the parts, and then the next comment is always, and when do we vest? When do we put on our garb? Where do we put on our garb? When do we walk in once we put on our vestments, our garb? And so we often go to the little room so we know where we're going to be standing here as we vest, and then we walk down the aisle, and we're in the church for the interfaith or ecumenical service. And invariably, somebody asks me, and Rabbi, what do you wear when you lead services? And I say, I wear a suit. Oh. And they're always polite, whether it's 3 or 6 or 12 or 15 other clergy, but I walk in, I'm wearing a suit, and they're all wearing very elaborate garb, and they march in a certain way, and then after the service, we walk back to the other room, and they take off their garb, and they're wearing a suit underneath, and then we continue on. It's that, we don't really have a uniform. We could talk about tallis, but tallis isn't quite the same as a uniform because the fabric of the tallis can be any color. Obviously, you know that. All that matters, what truly matters, is the tzitzit, The strings have to be tied in a uniform manner, but the rest of the garb can be any color, any decor that you so imagine or fancy. What matters is these tiny strings on the periphery, the elements in the far corner that if you didn't know better, you wouldn't even notice. It's on the very far corner, 4 distant corners, reminiscent of the 4 corners of the earth, reminiscent of where our Jewish people are. And we're less focused on what we're wearing than who we are and how we're connected to each other. That's our uniform. It's a tallis. But the only part of the uniform that's consistent and uniform is the strings tied in a very particular way. Everything else can be changed in any manner that suits the person wearing the tallis.
But didn't the ancient Kohanim have a specified dress?
Yes, they did. And that's what I wanted to talk about for just a moment. So I'm thinking, when else is there a uniform? And there's one occasion when there's a very specific uniform, and this is an artist rendering of the book of Leviticus, Exodus Leviticus, that the Kohen, the high priest alone, wore a very elaborate garment of blues and golds and crimsons and orange and all manner of fine woven threads and so on very special occasions. And after Aaron died, then the next heir apparent, who would have been Eleazar, would have worn the very elaborate outfit. But just the high priest. So is there any other occasion when there would be a uniform for all Jews? And the answer is yes. And I want to share it with you for a moment with respect and with love, not in fear, but opening our thoughts and our minds to gentleness and sincerity and honor. And the only time that we Jews have a uniform is when members of the Chevra Kadisha come to us, and we have died, and they bathe us in quiet solemnity, and then they dry us off, and they put us in very simple garb. And the entire presentation is one of hallowed solemnity, gentleness, honor, love, and reverence. And I'm not showing the entire garb. It's called tachrichin, and it's similar for men and women. There are slight exceptions, and this is not a class, but I want to make a point. So it's a simple white garb. That's one element. And here's another, actually, pardon me, this is the undershirt. This is the first shirt, and little tassels you hear, we just tie on the neck. And then this is the overshirt with a little bit of a collar. And there's a pants. It looks like scrubs, but they're white. No pockets. Because when you and I are being placed in the casket, we can't take anything with us. If you remember our friend Irving Rips Zal, who came from Europe, I met him once at the very beginning of our early relationship, and he knew a phrase, and I was surprised he knew the phrase because it's fairly obscure. It's from the Torah, B'Galpa Yovo, B'Galpa Yotze, which means you come into this world in a certain way and you go out of this world in a certain way. We can't take it with us. And that's why the simple white garments, which are pure and white and simple, have no pockets because it's only what you have. And again, members of the Chevra Kadisha come to you and me, and we are deceased, and we cannot ask for them to perform this chesed for us. It is out of the goodness of their hearts, motivated by mitzvah, a sense of being commanded by the creator of the universe to bring kindness and respect and honor to somebody from Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, who has died. And then with the simplicity and the reverence and the respect, each person who wishes to have these garments of tachrichim is dressed thusly and placed in the casket. That's our uniform. And it comes from the point of view when a certain rabbi, a long time ago, about 1,800 years ago, noticed that there were Jewish people who were being abandoned at burial time. There had grown up such an intensity of, let's have elaborate funerals and cemetery arrangements for people, that many of the average and the poor couldn't keep up with the Joneses. And so they were not burying their loved ones because they couldn't afford to have these elaborate ceremonies. And Rabbi Shimon Tzaddik saw this. He said, I want to be buried in simple white garments, nothing fancy, nothing ostentatious. And he was one of the greatest rabbis of the generation, 1,800 years ago. And so there established the precedent that if the greatest leader of your generation wants to be buried in simple white garments, I'm going to be like that too. I'm going to be like that as well. And me too, and me too. And it's handed down over time for the past 1,800 years. Our uniform is not to take the breath away of spectators. Our uniform is to convey with gentleness and modesty how absolutely important you are, how privileged you are to be tended by somebody who loves you, who may not even know you, as you prepare to meet HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy Blessed One. That's our uniform. And when members of the Chevra Kadisha are preparing the deceased at every stage of placing the garb upon the individual, they say a phrase. And the phrase comes from a number of Torah readings, but also part of tomorrow's Torah reading. And the priest will wear this white garb. And the priest would wear this white garb. And the priest would wear the shirt. The priest would wear the overshirt. The priest would wear the white pants. The priest would wear the white tunic. And it's a reminder that on the holiest of all days of Yom Kippur, the high priest puts away the fancy outfit and puts something simple and white upon himself. We read about every Yom Kippur morning. So when you and I are having the Jewish uniform donned upon us and we're not capable of dressing ourselves, we're really being dressed as if the high priest were on Yom Kippur. That's our uniform for holiness. Yes, ma'am.
Who was the name of this guy?
Shimon. His name was Shimon, and he lived about 1,850 years ago. So may we appreciate our uniforms. May we appreciate what it means to live a life such that at the conclusion of that life, we can be confident that people care about us, love us, and tend us with gentleness, respect, and holiness. We say amen.
Amen.
We rise for the Aleinu.
Now, we have a new person sitting in the chair.
So I'm thinking about this person because her name is, I want to say it's Yafa Adar. Yafa Adar. Yafa Adar was famous when she was kidnapped on October 7th. She was driven into captivity on a golf cart. You may remember the news. It was staggering. And if you noticed the picture very, very subtly, she had a tiny but almost a grim smile. She was returned during the first return, which was that November of 23. And she was interviewed, and she was asked, were you really smiling? And she said, yes, because I didn't want to give the Hamas satisfaction that they had captured me. I held my head up, and I even had a little bit of a smile. She's a Holocaust survivor who moved to Israel during and after the war. And she lived in Israel for many decades, and she was kidnapped on October 7th. And she's on my mind because we are still counting days. It's 580 days, and we know that we have captives still in Gaza. And I've just wanted to bring another picture in. We have this picture of these 24 hostages whom, to the best of our knowledge, are still alive, still living in Gaza. 24, and 35 hostages, to our best count, are in Gaza, but they are deceased, being held by Hamas for extortion purposes vis-a-vis Israel in getting Palestinian terrorists out of Israeli jails. That's where we are.
Isn't one of them in a door as well?
I don't know if one well, here you can look. I don't believe so, but I do remember that one of them is a Thai farm worker. He's from Thailand, and there are many people living in Israel who would come from other countries and become agricultural workers, and some of them were first captured on October 7th, and some had been returned. But many were held captive for 400 some odd days before they, as Thai citizens, were finally returned. Remember, this isn't attacking, it's all humanity by Hamas. Page 56. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liotzer breishit shelo asanik goyei aratzot velo samanu kemishpachot adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim Mishtachavim umotim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz umoshav yekaro b'shamayim mima'al ushchinatu zo begavei meromim hu Eloheinu enod emet malkeinu evezulato kakatu b'torato v'yadata yom v'shevota el levavecha ki Adonai hua Elohim b'shamayim mimal v'al haaretz mitachat enod. Kagatu b'toratecha Adonai imloch le'olam v'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. And we turn now to the Kaddish on page 58, and we're remembering all of our loved ones whose lives were stolen from all of Israel by Hamas, and subsequently, and we also remember as members of the congregation, Leah Miriam Ginsburg, Michael Perlman, Max Cohen Berenti, Marie Edelbaum, James Gutell, Hyman Rips, Bertha Weber, Rachel Burson, Celia Berkowitz, Jacob Cohen, any relation? Sam Lifshitz, Sadie Friedman-Sattel, Mamie Sinclair, Craig Movsovitz, Annie Stein, Minnie Adler, Betty Simon, Harry Grodsky, Donnie Schwartz, Roy Reiner, Isidore B. Maisel, I think that's Jaime's father, IB, Norman Buckman, Rufus Sizemore, that's your dad, Harris Lubell, Rains Watkins. Are there any other names to mention this evening? Perhaps somebody at home has a name to share as well. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Amen. Be'olma divara chirute v'yamlich malchutei. B'chaye echon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zaman kariv v'meru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mivarach la'olam u'l'olmei olmayam. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tishbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ma'alma v'imiru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imiru. Amen. Who says shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. And may we all have peace. And we are seated. That's your dad.
Yes.
We'll conclude with Oseh Shalom because we need shalom in the universe. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, O Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imro, imro, Amen. Hey Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, hey Yaseh Shalom. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imro, Amen. To all those joining in from home, we love you. May God bless you. May you have shalom. You're an important part of our lives. We hope that we can see you at some point in the near future. Until that point in time, please know that you're part of our community. Shabbat shalom.